You know, it's funny because a lot of the bad reviews of The Whale are like not even about the movie. They're just like, ew, it's too much. What? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I wish I was kidding. Now, even though Brendan Fraser from The Whale got Best Actor in the Oscars, duly so, it should have been a Best Picture nominee, and I'm going to tell you why.
Why? Why?
So to start off, first of all, The Whale is basically this super overbeast guy who can not even move, and he kind of is just showing his life, and he gets to meet like his daughter, and they get to develop this relationship. Simple plot, but the plot is like so intricate in this simple sentence. It's very interesting. So I have to go into a little bit more details. This movie, I'm going to say the rating kind of immediately because it will help paint why it should have been an Oscar nominee. This movie is an 8.5. It is very strong. I don't care what the critics say. I don't care if they put like 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. No. When you say in a critique, oh my gosh, it's too much, it's too unappealing for audiences, does that make the movie bad or good? I promise you there's a lot of like very intense movies. Like, let's say Evil Dead. Evil Dead is a lot, but it's still one of the best films created. Evil Dead is really like guts, and exploring everywhere. Is that too much? The critics didn't think so. So why is this one? Maybe it's too much because of the sensibilities. Why does it make it a lower rating then? Because I bet if they toned down the rhetoric just a little bit, magically the reviews would have just increased. They're like thin air, like, oh my gosh, great, Oscar nominee. Because I promise you, the only thing keeping it from the Oscar nominee list, now I understand this year was a competitive year. A lot of good movies. There weren't a lot of movies that I was like, damn, why is this an Oscar nominee? And I didn't even watch all of them. All the ones I watched definitely deserve to at least be there, kind of. So, taking that in apart, remember, if a movie about someone pooping in a bucket, a woman pooping in a bucket can win the Oscar, I promise this deserves to be a nominee. Now, if you want to go into the nuance and who it should have replaced, that's a whole nother thing that we can go into, because it is a competitive year, but it's better than The Way of Water. Like, the only reason Avatar The Way of Water is there because it's just so much money into visuals. But there's a worse movie than The Whale. It's an 8, light 8. So you could have replaced that one easily, and there's probably a couple others. I have not watched all of them, so I can't tell you for sure, but at least The Way of Water definitely could have been replaced. And you could have just put it in the best visual effects and best cinematography, because it wasn't going to win anyways. Because The Whale at least had like a fighting chance. What makes The Whale so good is because it brings this weird complexity of religion and homosexuality together and discusses it. Now I know based on the description that I told you, you wouldn't really have expected that, but it ties it into the main plot, like in a very, very, very strong way that I was not expecting.
You okay?
If you look at this movie, you don't expect these scenes to happen. And it's just a lot of gut-punching scenes. It's just like, you really feel it. Like, I was not expecting to get such a gut-punching movie. And it was very good, like, because, I don't know, when you go into this movie, you just don't expect that many emotional scenes, and they really know how to like go into the emotions without getting too like political, I guess, because I don't think it's too overtly political.
Sorry for leaving you.
It allows everyone to say what they believe. It doesn't demonize anyone. It does show frustrations towards certain groups of people, but it doesn't. I feel like it kind of shows the good side of everyone that is involved, whether it's the girl who's taking care of him, himself, his daughter, his wife. Like, even if they're portrayed in a bad light at one point, this movie does a great way of bringing them back and showing the humanity. Even the missionary boy showing from one side to another, and I think that's makes it very, very strong, because it makes you dislike characters based on like bad habits they're doing, or if they're even enabling, or like if they're just rude people. But it brings it around, and you just really feel like each person has good in them, and I think this is a very strong attribute in the movie. You don't have that many like scenes in the movie. You don't move around. Basically, most of it is spent in just one room. I mean, the guy can't move that barely without like crutches, so I wouldn't expect it to be like jumping on highways. But it's just very interesting because I believe that this movie was just not put in the Oscar list because of how the society is today. When they have talking about plus size people, it's just, I feel like maybe there's an oversensitivity. People can't distinguish what's the thing. unhealthy people and just people who have a little extra weight on. They think that because you can't move in the bed, maybe it's like not, you shouldn't address that. No. But yes, if you literally cannot move, you can't get out of bed without a crutch, and you're literally like out of breath just like standing up, that's something that should be talked about, because no one should be like that. People deserve to live life in the fullest, and they shouldn't be afraid to talk about this, because like I said, it's not comparing someone who just has a little bit of extra weight or a belly or some curves. It's the one who can't literally move, cannot move, which is not even that many people, but there's definitely a chunk of people, and this really kind of displays it. So besides that, it would have been on the list, and it's just so sad. I don't think it would have won. I really think that Everything Everywhere All at Once really deserved to win, because it was like a 9. But it definitely would have been like in the top. It would have been up there. So either way, do you think it should have been Best Picture nominee? Leave it in the comments, why or why not. And if you want to see some more movie reviews and TV show analysis, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.